Okay, so back to tagging. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is how we view tags. How do we look at existing tags? And we're actually going to use a repository that we clone that has hundreds of tags for us to play around with and inspect. We're going to use the React repository if you want to follow along. So I'll include the link along with this video and a resource, but it's just github.com/facebook/react. We can see currently there's 137 tags, quite a few. This is where you view them on GitHub, but I'm just going to clone this down to my machine. So make sure I'm not in a Git repository, and then git clone. There we are. It's going to take a little while. It's a pretty large project. You can see it's going pretty slowly, but it will be, well, I won't say it's worth it, but it's a good tool for us to play around with tags. And while that's going, I just want to remind you the concept of a tag is to be able to mark or to highlight some point in history and have that be a static reference that does not update unless we explicitly want to move it. This example, v3.1.0, some release, refers to that right there, right? This one commit, this is a minor release, most likely, and it's referring to that one commit. And at any point, I can go back and look at that, right? Everyone can see this is the moment in time where version 3.1.0 was released, right? This is that release. All right, so hopefully that repository is done cloning. The command that we're going to start with, really the command that forms the base of everything we do with tags, is git tag. But git tag on its own with no options, no additional values or arguments, will list all the tags in the current repository. So we clone this React repo. Okay, it did finish. If I cd into it, all right, we're in a Git repository. We're on the master branch. If I type git tag, I'm going to see a lot of different tags. These each mark a different release. So there's a lot of them. I have to scroll, and then to get out of here, hopefully you're used to this by now, type Q. Same as, when we're in git log, for example. Hit Q, and we get out. So these are all different tag names. You'll see that a lot of them start with V. That's pretty standard and conventional, although actually some of them don't. Some of them are missing the V. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know. Some people didn't get the memo. But all these tags down here are all different versions, right? They follow semantic versioning. So we've got, the most recent 17.0.0. That's the most recent major release. And then here's a patch soon after, 17.0.1. And I'm sure you'll see some new tags. Even if you're doing this a couple weeks after I publish the course, there will be new releases. So the exact numbers don't really matter, but you should have all these anyway, plus possibly more. So this is just listing a bunch of pointers. So each pointer, each tag has a name, right? And they're just version numbers, but those could be other names. They could be chicken or honey boo boo or something, typically version numbers. And they each refer to a particular point in time, a specific commit, but we don't see that right now. We'll learn how to inspect the changes or take a look at those particular moments in time. But for now, we're just listing the tags. And on the topic of listing tags, another thing we can do is filter them or search when we've got a bunch of tags like we do on this React project. We can use the -L. So it is an L. It kind of looks like a 1 there, but it's -L for list, which actually it's confusing. It doesn't have anything to do with this really. -L is telling it to list all the tags, which we don't have to do here, right? We just get them all. But if I add the -L, it's implicit when I do git tag. We're actually doing -L. We're saying list all the tags. But when we try and filter with some sort of wild card like we have here, this is a pattern that we're trying to match. So that star inside the quotes and asterisk here means any character. This is going to find all tags that contain beta in them, and we have to use -L in order to list them out. It's kind of weird, but that's just how it works. So, as an example, if I wanted to look at all the, how about all the tags that start with 17? I think there's only 2. I can do git tag -L, and then 17, and if I just do that, I'm looking for an exact tag named 17. It doesn't exist. But if I do 17 star, that means 1 or more characters, or actually I think it's 0 or more characters, but basically something after 17. Still nothing. Oh, well, that's my fault. They actually start with V17, don't they? Yeah, well, that was underwhelming. So there was no tag that started exactly with 17 and then stuff afterwards. They only had V17 and then content afterwards. So let's take a look again at all the tags. If I wanted to find all of them that contained beta anywhere, I could do this, get tag -L, and then some characters optionally beta, and then some characters optionally afterwards. And here we are. This one, right, 16.0.0 beta.1. This one ends in beta. This one has a dot after it. This one has a number. So we're getting all of those. And yeah, that's kind of all I want to show you in this video. So we can search through tags or filter for particular tags. Remember, you do need the -L here. Otherwise, it thinks that we're actually trying to make a new tag name. Because in the next video, or very soon, I'll show you how to make a new tag where we use get tag, just kind of like get branch, right? You can view branches with get branch and make a new branch with get branch. So anyway, -L just says list all the tags, and here's what I want you to filter them by. Okay, so that's our first example of viewing those tags, or at least the name of those tags. Next up, I want to talk about actually checking out those tags and going back in time and maybe diffing tags as well.